Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alternative Influence Coaching. And today I'm taking a little bit of a break from the norm and doing it from a very peaceful location at that. So I'm out here, I'm actually watching some deer in the woods. So this is really, really calming and nice. But we haven't really had that calm of a week. So I wanted to spend some time and talk about and react to the craziness of the riots and how how this can affect business. But really, it's really just a disconnect. It's about people and relationships, and we have touched on this in the past, and this is a hot topic. So as you're listening and you're thinking about commenting or you have some insight, speak it with love. Okay? This is a conversation, and conversations should be spoke in that way. Okay? That being said, let's get into this a little bit. Okay? This week's been really good for reflection and movement in the realm of equality, and it's a conversation that's been much needed. And I will say that it's not always been that clear. I know it has for me. So speaking from my experience is that's where I want to take you, basically on a little trip. I was born and raised in Ohio. I came from a church-going family, and we spent a lot of time in the church, and I grew up youth groups and things like that. And I will reflect on this and say that it wasn't exactly a deep dive into morality and the Bible. The church kind of flew over the scriptures at 30,000 feet, which I didn't realize at the time. So this gave way to me growing up and trying to find my own way and spending time as a conservative or a Republican and thinking that I knew something. And basically it's just because I grew up around those type of people. And it seemed right and aligned with my morality and my church beliefs. But then, this is the good news of this, is that I grew. And how that growth happened for me in a spiritual sense, or even more so in a racial reconciliation sense, or a politically unbiased sense. To me, these are all interwoven, or can be. Maybe not. Maybe they're not all the time. That happened when I moved to Nashville. What I experienced when I moved to Nashville is a little more unity than what I saw in Ohio. Let me give you a little context. I had one black friend in Ohio, and I certainly didn't go to church with him. When I came to Nashville, now, mind you, there was no racism in our family, but I would say that the jokes and the statements about black people coming from the people surrounding me annoyed me, and did happen, and that really drove me crazy for a long time. And my wife and I reflected on this. Even in the first couple of years of living in Nashville, coming back felt like you were coming back to that on some level. Now, bear with me here. I'm just letting you into my life. I'm letting you know that how we chose to, or how really we just were led through and learned how to grow in this area. So it's fast forward away from Ohio back to Nashville, and ended up going to a multicultural, multi-denominational, multi-economic church. And this church, whether you believe in God or not, it's not really the point of this. The point here is that the church and me moving towards something that made me uncomfortable on paper, something I've never experienced before, like I wasn't sure what I was going to get into. really helped me to see the other side. Because I didn't know, I knew I hated racism prior to coming to Nashville, but I didn't know that I just thought that that was enough. I wasn't anti-racist, right? I was just not, I didn't like racism. That wasn't me, but I wasn't doing anything about it. So coming to this church, I learned a lot. I got to know a lot of really good people from all countries, from all walks of life, from all colors. And I learned that my biblical views didn't make me a conservative or a Democrat or a Republican. It was outside of that completely. As a matter of fact, if I truly believe the Bible and I truly have some basis for truth and my morality is rooted in the Bible, mind you, that might not be your thing, and your truth, maybe your truth somewhere else. If that's the case, might be a little harder for you to hear. If I really believe that, then I can't really associate with any political party, because to do so would be to create division. If I make it higher priority than my faith. So when I see that, it drives me crazy. When I see people speaking more about their political stance higher than their faith that happen to come from the same type of Bible background that I have, I'm saying you're creating more division than you are helping anybody. So the same thing goes for race, right? So I'm over here thinking that because of my hatred for racism that I'm doing something about racism, and I'm not. So that's the difference for me, was to learn and understand the oppression, learn and understand where it all came from. Get educated first. So for a lot of you, this is annoying, and you don't understand. You thought because you don't like racism that you are doing something. But I just invite you to go a little deeper and then find a way to latch on and help organizations and help progress racial reconciliation. It's a much deeper thing than any one person in office can handle. So this is not about the presidency, and it's really definitely not about politics in general. Even though I'm using that as an example to tell you how walls are broken down in my life and how I learned to be my own person and not really associate with any political party, okay? Same can be said about my church life. I believe the Bible, I stick with what the Bible says, and I don't let my Bible beliefs be dictated by what other people believe, including those people who lead my church. If you go in and you start letting the people, the leaders of your church or the leaders of your world dictate your faith and your morality, right? You're setting yourself up for failure every time. You will end up jaded and upset and want to walk away. That does have a lot of connotations that relate to business. So I know if you're normally here for that, and this is maybe annoying to you, but stick with me, okay? So the learning what systemic racism is and how it's played such a large role in our country. It's not foreign. You see it all over the world, but it's something that once you learn it here, you really can start thinking about practical ways to move the movement forward. And if you can't physically move the movement forward, you can financially support people who are. So that's what I want to invite you to do. One, get educated. Two, find that organization where you can either put your hands on it and help, or that you can fund it with some money. And then in your personal life, this is the issue that, as a white man talking to my white brothers and sisters, is shut up. Shut up and absolutely listen. If you don't understand the struggle, you're in the trees and you can't see the woods. You can't see the forest. And that right there is truth that far supersedes, that's truth that you can hang your hat on. If you don't understand the issue, whether it be racism or poverty maybe you're contributing to it. Maybe you're too much in it, and you got to step back and look at it for what it is. That might be offensive, and I don't want to fight you. You just got to think about it. That's something we've touched on in the past. So your present path is often dictated by your insecurities based on hurt from your past. So your past can affect your future path if you don't know how to change it. So how do you change it? Well, you step back from it and you look at what's going on and you try to find the root cause, try to find the source, and then you heal it. And you typically can't do that alone, right? This is the reason for the talks that we have on these videos, right? You need mentorship. You need a good community. It's good to be a part of something like that. And I'm always talking to you about growth and how important that is, right? You want to gain wisdom, right? Not just business wisdom. What is wisdom if it's not life experience? And you can't have life experience if you're looking backwards. And you're looking backwards when you're judging everybody else through your hurt and insecurity. So that's food for thought. Step away from the woods, step away from the tree so you can see the forest. So I invite you to get uncomfortable, to assert yourself in this war, in the battle of racial reconciliation. In helping people, one, understand it. If you understand it, help others to understand it. And the conversation has to be done peaceably and has to be done with love. I hear love wins, right? All the time. Love wins, love wins, love wins, love wins. Understand the meaning of love. It's patient, it's kind, it's not resentful, it doesn't harbor bad feelings. It waits and listens and waits and listens. If you're having a hard time getting a word in, you're listening to somebody who has hurt. Let them just talk. If you're talking out there and you think that no one's listening, move on. Find someone that will listen. And maybe refine your message, make it a little more simple. Make it easier to understand. It's hard for, I'm going to speak for myself. It's hard for our skin color to understand the depth of this. We don't know what our ancestors did. Like, people ask me all the time, are you Native American, or are you French, or are you this, that, and that? I have no idea. Like, I wasn't raised to know. We didn't spend a lot of time celebrating our heritage. We don't know our past or our history. And it's terrible, right? Because you can't celebrate the good. So there's two things to look at there. I want you to consider all of those things. What is it about your past that is informative, that can help somebody progress to growth and change their future? And what is it about your past that is broken and or full of hurt and pain that you need help with, that you need to heal from? That's a both sides of the aisle, both sides of the race question, both sides of poverty and riches. Like, it's a both sides analysis. That's what makes us human. That's what brings us together. We all have pain. We all have hurt. So when speaking directly to systemic racism, become an anti-racist. Get educated, get involved, and change the path. I hope this helps. I know it's a step away. I know it's different than what you're used to hearing here. But now you know my heart. I would like to talk to you more about the subject matter. I think it's a conversation that continues past this week, or we will see this again. It won't ever go away. So it's Terry. This is Alternative Influence Coaching. And I thank you for tuning in and making it all the way to the end. All right. Have yourself a great day.